Welcome to this new episode of The Disabled Life. The purpose of this podcast is to tell people how I live my life. The name I'm using on the podcast now is The Disabled Guy, because I felt that you needed to hear something as opposed to just my voice there. I'm a disabled male living in Florida with cerebral palsy. I'm here to tell you how I live my life and some of the volunteer work that I do and how I manage to do it with cerebral palsy. Without further ado, let's go into the episode. What I'm going to talk to you about today is something that really annoyed me when I was in school. I'll tell you exactly what it was. When I was in middle school, I'm in a wheelchair. I'm able to push the wheelchair myself and get to where I need to go. So, I needed to go to the bathroom. And because of some weird rule that we couldn't push ourselves along the hallway, which was kind of absurd in my opinion, well, I had to wait for an aide to go to the bathroom. That was very frustrating when you had a female with you. They couldn't take you to the bathroom and just wait outside. That was annoying. So I had to wait for a male person to come when he wasn't around. So that was not good. So that was that. I dealt with that for 3 years. Another nuisance that happened is when I was and I dealt with that. I was frustrated with that. People would try to help us when we were in middle school, and they wouldn't allow it, and they would say no because they thought it was scary and we were gonna fall down. That was the rule. I don't understand the rule there, but what can we do? We follow the rules. Okay. So I dealt with that, and that was annoying, but I dealt with that. So when I was as you remember, as I said in a podcast, there was I don't know if I said this, there was a group of people, paraprofessionals, we used to call them something else, that was the teachers, that would scare the students, as to the help and all the stuff that they had going on in the high school. So if you guys remember correctly, I took a day off. I took a half day, my personal time, and I went to a school and talked to them about the way the high school is. Okay, but that's just a little bit of background on things that happen. So one day, when I was in, I don't know what grade I was, I think I was in my junior year, 11th grade, I had pain in my mouth. It was my wisdom teeth. So I'm not the only one, but I hate going to the dentist. If I say to my parents, I have to go to the dentist in an emergency, it's because I am really bad off. I am in a lot of pain. So I went to the dentist, he checked me, and he goes, oh no, it's the wisdom teeth, you have enough room in there, they're just going to come out normal. I'm like, oh god, this hurts. So I went to school, and I'm like, with this pain. If you have a headache, you can go home. It's one day. You go home, you take your aspirin, Tylenol, whatever it is you take it. You do that. And you go home and you take it and you're done. But if you have wisdom teeth, it's going to be a pain. It's just a constant pain for 4 hours. For like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever the heck it is. So so I'm like, what do I do? So I thought about it. In order to take a medicine in Dade County schools, Miami-Dade County, Florida, I don't know how although you would have to take a doctor's note, go to the office, and every time you needed this thing. Imagine if you needed this thing twice a day, two aspirin twice a day. You needed a prescription and all this stuff. And then you had to take it to the office. I don't think it could be over-the-counter stuff, so it was not something really convenient. So I said, oh no, what do I do? So luckily, I had some nice teachers that were helping me out. What I mean by helping me out is I'm be honest with you. I was illegally carrying some aspirin. What I mean by that is I wasn't supposed to carry aspirin on my own. And so I'm like, ugh. So I carried this thing. And I would show them, hey, I told them all that I was in deep pain and, I explained to them what the thing was. So I said, okay. They said, okay. I used to show them the pills and they knew it was aspirin. So they would let me go to okay. In high school, to go back a little bit, we were allowed to go out on our own with sometimes other students helping us out. So I would ask her to let me go out and ask them, whoever it was, ask them to give me. I would get some water, go outside, get some water, and I'm done. And I'd get some take my two aspirin or whatever it is that I was taking at the time. I don't remember. So I would do this, but the funny one was that a friend of mine, he did not realize what I was doing. He takes me to the water fountain right in front of the office. I'm like, oh no, don't do this because I gotta take aspirin, I got pain. So I took my aspirin, I went back to class, whatever. Another funny story, I'll tell you a funny story. Again, when I was in high school, this was my senior year, I think it was my senior year. So went to class and I was taking, excuse me. So I was, in home economics, and they asked me if I wanted to join a fashion show. So I did. I joined a fashion show, help them out. So I was, my thing was to dress, like a formal jacket, tie, a tuxedo shirt, and a jacket, bow tie and a jacket. So I just walk around there like everybody else would. So I'll tell you a story. So then one of those days I had a terrible head cold, terrible head cold. I'm like, oh God. And I knew we had final rehearsal before dress rehearsal. So I'm like, do I go home or do I stay and deal with this? So I asked a teacher. I said, man, I have a head cold. I am tired. I'm sick. So I went and she said, you know what? Come here. She takes me in the office, does me a favor. You probably know what the favor is. She handed me something out of her purse. She said, I didn't give you this. I'm like, okay. So I took those and it was better. And I pushed through rehearsal. I'm done. So the next thing happened. I had to get my hair cut because I was not going to dress up nice. I was not going to dress nice with long hair. So even with this cold, luckily my mom cuts my hair. So she cut my hair. I dressed up in this. Okay. So I dressed up. I did the night show. Yeah, we did the night show. I think it was the night show first. So I did the night show with a cold. The next day, I think we had 6 shows. Well, man, I don't know how many shows it was. But we were dressed up to the nines, man. We were dressed up to the nines. And the girls were in heels. We were all in jackets. I'm like, hot. It was hot like heck. Hot like heck. So, we were, even though it was air conditioned, but it was hot. So, I remember doing this. I went out and I got me some lunch. I went outside, got me some lunch that day. So we didn't have to go. So what happened was, I had gone to get lunch. I was hungry, and then they said, "Okay, go to a period." I'm like, go to a class. I'm like, okay. I went to class, and it was interesting. No. Sorry. I had to run back, have somebody help me back into my jacket. One of the teachers helped me back into my jacket with my bow tie back on. We had to go take a picture. Between all this period, I had a time. I was carrying a soda with me. I was carrying a soda around because I just didn't have time to drink it. So the funny part was that we had a person that had rheumatic fever, and I accidentally put the soda down right where she went right where she was. So I went into the room and I put the soda down, and absent-mindedly put the soda down and hurried. And I told the teacher, look, this is my soda. I just had lunch. As you can see, I'm in a fashion show. So we did this. So I'm like, so I got, so we went back, did the last show. I went home. It was interesting. But I don't remember. Yes. Yeah, it was like, when I got home, I quickly wanted to get out of my jacket, get out of my clothes, rest, because I was tired and hot. And on top of all of this, I had homework to do the next day like crazy, because I had 5 periods worth of homework, because I had 5 periods worth of homework because I had not gone to the 5 periods. It was the last period of the day was the home ec class. So we would hang out. We were hanging on home ec all day. It was interesting, but it was interesting because and I had homework, and that was chaotically crazy, and I had to go to first period, which I hated because it was phys ed. Oh no, that was horrible. I was hot, sweaty. So anyway, we did all this crap. So I'm in a wheelchair, so I couldn't take my pants off. I couldn't get out of any of the clothes because all this stuff, I can't do it. So I would wear pullover shirts every day to school. So one thing I would do, I had to tell this guy, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't today. I can't dress the way you want me to, because I can't do it. I just cannot. It's impossible. So it's reasonable. I'll tell you one quick story. Another quick story that happened to me that was obnoxious in a way. My sophomore year, which was when I first started high school, I didn't know. For some reason, I didn't know. Somehow I messed up where they were going, and I missed them. And I missed my class. I missed my PE class. I didn't know where to meet them. It was interesting. I'm like, oh no. So then this coach tells me that I skipped this class. I'm like, ugh. And there's no way you can argue with these people. Once they say something, they don't want to hear it. So I'm like, oh God. This is terrible. So then he goes, I saw him. I'm like, I won't wait, because I'm like, what the heck am I going to do now? Luckily, what he did was he gave me 2 zeros, which for those of you that don't know, that means four F's. I'm like, okay, that just brings my grade period down. He said, if you do this again, you're gonna be CSI and indoor suspension. I'm like, I'm like, okay, fine. I'm like, no worries, because I knew for a fact that this was never happening again. It was so interesting that it happened to me, but it was just not something I wanted to do, because I just couldn't understand what was happening. I didn't know. It was like, okay, I figured everything out. I went back to class the next day. I did all the things I needed to do, because I just knew it was just a mistake and an accident, and they don't understand that. Sometimes mistake accidents happen, and they don't understand it when you first begin. You don't know. So let me give you something a little different. So as I'm talking about these projects here, because these are all instances that annoy us as disabled people. That one where the teacher situation, that was my fault. But this one's completely annoying. This one was bad. So one day I was in an art class. There was a sub there, and I said to her, I need to go to the bathroom. And I go, and she goes, give her. So I asked her for a pass. She goes, no, because you have to wait for an aid. I'm like, no. Just give me the pass, because we go on ourselves, by ourselves, not on ourselves. Sorry. So we do this. It was annoying because I had to basically not argue, but convince her that was the case. Well, that was annoying. In closing, let me say thank you for listening to this episode of The Disabled Life. You can follow me on the following platforms. You can follow me at Good Pods. You can leave comments, messages there. You can also follow me on Twitter at The Disabled Guy. And you can also listen to me on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and many others. Once again, thank you for listening, and I'll also give you my email. My email is Kilo Echo 4 Kilo Echo Yankee, or KE4KEY@gmail.com. Once again, thank you. And thank you for your support. And I'll see you next week. Okay. And also, in closing, I'm also going to say you can also rate me on Spotify and leave comments, messages there. I did not know you could do that at that point. And I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's just enough to do another outro just for that. So go ahead, follow me on Apple Podcasts. On Spotify, and leave messages there. You can also follow me there. And thank you.